Good evening or good whatever time it is, wherever you're at today. But this video is specifically for an evening movement flow, just to get some decompression through the spine, through the hips, so that you can kind of bring your energy down, you can get yourself settled and start working into that space that you want to like snuggle in bed and get ready to sleep, just to be more comfortable. So let's go ahead and start seated, and you can do all this on the floor, you can do this on your bed. If you are on the bed, you can go ahead and start seated on the bed with the feet hanging off. I'm just gonna stand my legs out in front of me. So from there, you're just gonna walk your hands back behind you, and the fingertips are facing the sits bones or the heels. And then you're just windshield wiping the knees right to left. So if you're really tight in the upper body, the hand is gonna need to follow, the shoulder is gonna need to follow, but eventually you wanna start working hands down, chest stays open, and then you're windshield wiping away from the chest, away from the shoulder line. You can even start gazing in the opposite direction. And that just opens up our body across those meridians, across those fascial lines. Taking one more breath, and bringing it back through center. So now sitting bones are down and the feet are going wide. I'll actually just face you for this movement. Feet are going wide and the toes are working onto the ground. So our hands are just going to come over the legs. And we're just going to exhale and round into it. And as I do that, I'm pulling my shins and my knees open and behind me. Inhale, lift up tall through the spine. It helps to push through the sits bones. And as you exhale, you pull forward, open up the heart forward. Inhale to lift and lengthen. One more, pull yourself forward, pull the knees back and behind. And then bring it back through center. Let's go into Baddha Konasana, feet together. So first we're gonna work our thumbs just right underneath that first round in the foot. And then we're gonna pull the heels in. You can use the elbows to walk across the legs. As we're walking across the legs, our sits bones are staying on the ground. And then we're gonna take our feet about a foot wider. So now inhale to lift. And lengthen, hinging at the hip line. So sitting bones are down, knees are working wide, and I'm using my lats to pull my heart forward. Nice, unrolling through the spine. Let's go into quadruped. So hands and knees, check in your alignment. You want the wrists under the shoulders and the knees under the hips. So first we're just holding here, and we're gonna cat-cow the spine. I like keeping my toes tucked under, it just creates more activation. If you want to be a little bit softer, you can let the feet kick out. One more inhale as you open, and then exhale as you round. Go to a neutral spine, any kind of circling through your hips. So keep the weight even in the palms so the body isn't shifting around too much. You're really isolating the hip joint, lifting and lengthening. Now the left toes are going to extend back and away from the body, and I'm going to point the toe. So all I'm doing here is creating a stretch for my QML muscle all the way down the leg line. So I want to lift and pull away and then lower. Lift and pull away and lower. Let's do one more. Lift and pull away and lower. Now bring the left foot to the opposite side of the body, so I'm going towards the right, and I'm also going to gaze towards my right. So I'm actively creating this C curve from the outside of the hip, outside of the body, and into the shoulder. You can even push into the toes to press deeper into the hip. And then gaze between the thumbs, bring the left toes back down, and now you're opening up to a 90. And as you pull the heel up, you're gonna pull the knee down, and then reverse it. Pull the heel down and pull the knee up. Do that 2 more times. Knee down, heel up. Heel down, knee up. 1 more time. Keep breathing into the hip joint. Beautiful. And then lower into quadruped. Let's take a breath in child's pose. Toes together, knees wide. You can walk the fingertips forward. You can take the forehead to the mat and roll right to left just to give yourself a little pressure, a little massage across the head. And then we'll switch into our right side quadruped movement. So stack up in your quadruped. Lift and lengthen the right toes. So it's a point you're reaching away from the hip line. Lift and lengthen, extend through the QL muscles, extend through the back body. One more. And then take the right foot towards the left side now. I'm going to keep walking until I can't walk any farther. I'm going to gaze towards the toes, create this big C curve on the right side of my spine. You can push into the toes. You can gaze a little farther behind you. Keep breathing. exhale, gaze between the thumbs. Let the right leg come back in. And now any kind of movement on the right hip. So you can lift it lower, just anything that's calling out to you. Now find a 90 in the right leg. Same thing we did on the other side. Heel up, knee down. And then knee up, heel down. 2 more. Inhale and exhale as you move. Try to keep the weight even in the palms. 1 more. Excellent. This time, from quadruped, you're tucking your toes under and then lifting your knees to a hover, simultaneously walking the hands back to the feet. So you can start with a big bend in the leg, take opposite elbow. All 4 corners of the feet are pushing down to the mat, and as you inhale, work on lengthening the legs. And as you exhale, work on folding. If you need to bend again, go ahead and bend. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold. 1 more. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold. Hold your fold this time. You're heavy through the upper body, heavy through the crown of the head. You can release the jaw, you can release the neck in a yes and a no. Option to take a bind to get yourself closer to the legs. Another option I love here is to take the fingertips to the occiput, which is right at the base of the hairline, and you're just actively pulling up and away to stretch through the upper back, the fascia, and then all the way through the back of the neck. So you're not crunching the chin in, but you're using the fingertips to create length and then a little bit deeper of a stretch. Whew, and I feel that all the way down my spine, down my hips, down my legs, all the way to my heels. Exhale, bend the knees, bring the hands back down. Let's walk it forward. From quadruped, we're going to come all the way onto the mat in a cobra. So I want you to first extend one leg back, lower the shoulders, extend the other leg back, lower the hips, and then inhale to lift up through the heart. Keep breathing, open the front body. As you exhale, bring it all the way down. Let's go into a little shoulder stretch. I'll do my left arm first since it's facing you. I'm just going to walk my fingertips until the front of my shoulder touches the mat. And now I use my other hand to press my body to roll on top of the shoulder. So as you roll, don't let the shoulder move around, keep it down, and fold on top. You can always place this top foot on the mat for support. Coming back to the belly and then transitioning to the other side. So now the right fingertips are walking until the shoulder is down. Keep the shoulder down and open up to a shoulder stretch. You can use the back leg for support, front hand for support. If the palm is curled up, open the palm, get the fingertips on the mat. One more breath. Coming back through center. Press it up through quadruped, and then we're just going to go to seated. So now we're going to open the scapula away from the spine and opening the shoulder in the opposite direction. So just in an easy seated, your right arm is going to go towards the left hip crease. And it's important to lock that arm out, because then when you lean forward, it's going to pull from the scapular muscles, or the scaps. So as you reach locked arms, then lean into it and feel the space from the scapula to the spine extend. Keep breathing. Next, exhale, unroll the spine, and just circle the arm back and away just to get a little twist. You can gaze past the shoulder, you can sink the right ear if you want a nice stretch on the left shoulder. Coming back through center, let the spine adjust, just take some soft movements through the arms. And then we'll move on to left arm, right hip crease. You lock it out, and then you lean forward, hinging at the hip line. Feel the space from the scap to the spine extend. Gently unrolling, right arm circles open, take a gentle twist. You can gaze past the shoulder. You can sink the left ear and breathe. Excellent. Coming back through center. Let's take our fingertips and just draw down the sides of the neck. Relax the jaw, let the mouth hang open. And then you're going to take the fingertips across the collarbones and away from the body. We worked a little bit through our shoulders and our hips. Now we're going to take it back down to the mat for a little bit of spine work. One more time before we finish off. Feet are planted at hips distance. You're going to push into the feet and lift the hips and walk the hands underneath the hip line. Now if you have a block at home, this is where you can use a block for support. I'm just going to use the 90 degree in my elbow for support here. So the important thing to do once you get here is to exhale and pull the hands toward the heels, like you're pulling the hips away from the spine. Maybe you'll feel some adjustment in the pelvis. Maybe you'll feel some hollowness, some adjustment around the sacrum. All that is good. Now once the hands are pulling towards the heels, hold and breathe. And then gently press back into the feet so that you can remove the hands and the legs are supporting. And then you lower down vertebrae by vertebrae. Spine is nice and long. Feet go together in a Baddha Konasana, a butterfly position. And your hands are making a diamond shape around the belly button. Now soften your belly muscles. Find some circling. We're always going from the right hip across to the left hip, following the digestive tract. But keep breathing, softening to the belly space. Now going into my favorite pose of all time. The wrists are facing the hip line. So now the hands are supporting on the quads. As you inhale, you fill up the belly. And then you exhale and lock out the arms. And get as much cracking, popping adjustment you can get out of the spine. Gently, gently start releasing the pressure from the hands. And then we'll finish up with a spinal twist. So I'm going to take both legs to the right side. This is the first version. You can open up the left arm, follow with the gaze. If you want to make it a little trickier, the right leg can go long. If you want to make it more challenging, the right arm can hook the left leg. And now you can take some deep circles with that left arm. So your intention is to unroll the rib cage, unroll the left shoulder to get a deeper twist. Now land gazing towards the left wall, pulling the left shoulder down, melting through the rib cage. Bringing it back through center, gaze first, and then knees straight through midline. Let's take the legs up in the air. Let the spine naturally adjust before we twist to the other side. And then when you're ready, I'm going to rotate to the bottom of my mat. You can just bring your legs over to the opposite side for a twist. So you either have this first one, second with the leg long, or the more intense stretch, you bind to the top leg, right arm in front, some big sweeping circles. And then you're landing, gazing towards the right wall, trying to melt the rib cage to the right shoulder back to the mat. Coming back through center. Beautiful, legs up in the air. So you want the heels, knees, hips in one line, so you have weight down to the sacrum. Just take a few deep breaths. Anything from your day you need to let go of, now's the time to release it. Bringing the feet down, hopefully just relaxing into your bed at this point. I hope you enjoyed that little decompression stretch session, and I'll see you next time.